Okay, guys, welcome into day 2 of boot camp. My name is Monica Perry. I'm your Market Center Tech Trainer in Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Chapel Hill, and Durham South Point Market Centers. I'm so excited you guys are here with us today. So today we are going to be covering opportunities in Command. So yesterday we talked about the fact that there was one thing that you need to use Command for, and this is it. So you're here for a great day. This is how we do our transactions in Command. And the reason we need to do them through Command is because this is where our compliance officers check our paperwork and make sure that we stay out of real estate jail. It's also where our wonderful MCAs make sure to get us paid as quickly as possible. So this is our transaction system at Keller Williams. Now, there are a lot of pieces to the opportunities, right? Pieces that you do not have to use, but they are great features to have. So today we're going to cover a broad overview of the Opportunities app. We are going to look at some cool things that you can set up for yourself. Opportunities is getting some updates in the coming weeks, about which I'm very excited. And then we're going to take a break. And when we come back from break, we're going to go over how to use Docusign rooms with opportunities. So if you're in a market center that uses something other than Docusign rooms, feel free to hop off at the break. If you just want to hang out and they're curious about how Docusign rooms works, feel free to hang out. But I do want to make sure to value your time. So if Docusign rooms is not something in which you're interested, that's going to be in the second half of the class. I'm going to try to cover everything else in the first half. So we might go a little bit further past an hour before we take a break, just to make sure that we get everything covered. Okay. So we're going to get started with creating our opportunities. Now, this is a workflow called the path to get paid. Okay. This is available on kwtechcoach.com. It's available on my link tree. It's going to be in your resources. If you're watching us on YouTube, it will be in the description box below. Yesterday's class has been uploaded to YouTube already, and you will see a fresh link on my link tree. And then later this afternoon, I will start getting those new videos updated on kwtechcoach.com. But this path to get paid is gold, right? If we stay on the path to get paid, our life is so much easier, okay? It doesn't matter if you're using Docusign rooms, if you're using Dotloop, if you're using Zip Forms, if you're using SkySlope, if you're one of my agents that has now gotten licensed in Virginia and you're using SkySlope to do your forms, all of those are fine. It doesn't matter where you go get your forms signed, right? Signing in paper, that's fine. The thing that you want to do is still make sure that you start in Command and upload your finished documents there so that our compliance officers can check them. Okay. So we always start with one, enter your contact into Command. If you don't already have the contacts that are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate with you in your Command database, go ahead and get them uploaded into Command or added into Command. Okay. So hopefully we're getting everybody right, 201 plus, that's what we talked about yesterday, into our Command database. So then when that contact decides to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, we create an opportunity for them, okay? So there's little notes on here. So for a listing opportunity, I'm going to list 123 Main Street, go ahead in the opportunity name and add 123 Main Street, because this makes it easier for our MCAs to find your transaction when you close. A lot of times closing attorneys, they don't do it intentionally. We know that. But when they mail the check to the office, it will just have the address of the property. It won't have the client's name or the agent's name on it sometimes. And then the MCA is like, who does this check belong to? So by adding the address in the opportunity name, it's easier for them to find it. Now, when it's a buyer, originally you might not have an address, and that's okay. You can just have it named Sally Smith, buyer. That's fine. Try to remember to go back and edit that once Sally goes under contract on a property, again, making it easier for your market center administrator to find that it's your transaction and that that check gets paid to you. Okay. So we're going to start with those two steps. We added contacts yesterday, so we're not going to go into that piece of it, but we're going to go into the creation of the opportunity. Along the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will be trying to keep an eye on the chat over here off screen. If you have questions there, or just feel free to unmute yourself and ask me a question. This is your time, and this is probably the most important day of Command Boot Camp. Not the most fun day, that's Thursday, but the most important day, okay? All right, so let's head on over into agent.kw.com, where we can log into Command. So we're going to go ahead and pretend like we've added our contacts, okay? I'm going to show you 1, 2, 3 ways that you can start an opportunity. So it's going to be whichever one works the best for you in your, workflow. So let's say that I'm going to create an opportunity for Mr. Dakota. Where is Dakota? Is he in the background? Oh, he moved. He's off camera. Dakota is my dog. If you haven't met him yet, he has his own email, he and his sister, and they are my clients. So I'm going to go ahead and open Dakota. And yesterday when we added contacts, we talked about connecting two contacts together, that when you have, two people that are married, two people that are partners, anything like that, business partners, whatever, you create them each their own contact and connect them. So here's Dakota's contact. And down here, you can see that he is connected to Sasha, right? And so now watch what happens. Over here on the right hand side, there's a button for opportunities, okay? And a button to create an opportunity directly from the contact card, okay? So if you're in multiple market centers, you will see this option. If you're not in multiple market centers, you will not see this option, okay? And then you come down to your opportunity type. Is this going to be a listing? Is this going to be a buyer? Is this a landlord? Is it a tenant? What type of transaction is this? So I'm going to go ahead and go with listing for right now. If you are on a team, okay, we talked about contacts yesterday and best practices, including PC coaching. If your productivity coaching is on a team in Command, you want to add your contacts to your personal side and move them to the team to have a transaction. This is why that is so important. I promised you I would show it to you yesterday. So Dakota is on my personal side of Command. If I try to add an opportunity to my team and I try to pull up Dakota, that is not the right Dakota, right? So that is not the right Dakota right there. So that is why it's important that whatever side of Command your contact is on is the one that you need to have. You need to move it there to have the opportunity there. Does that make sense? Because I have a lot of people that run into that and they're like, wait, I know my contact is in Command, but when I try to create an opportunity, they're not showing up, right? That's because you have to move them to the correct side of Command. So if the opportunity is going to be under your team, move the contact to the team. Okay, just wanted to make that side note. But today we're not doing that on a team. We're going to do it right here, and I will be able to pull up Dakota Perry. There we go. Now, since he is connected to Sasha, when I click co-seller, boom, she's already there. I don't have to go search for her or type her name. Okay. By default, it's going to be buyer or client one dash whatever type of transaction it is in the opportunity name. Like I said, for a listing, you already know the address. So just go ahead and say 123 Main Street so that we know which listing it is. You can use custom tags in your opportunities. So maybe you want to tag everything for the year of 2023. Okay, I've not created 2023 yet. So now I have the opportunity to click create. Now I have 2023 as an opportunity tag. We can filter by these, we can search by these. Maybe I want to know they're a move up, right? They're moving into a bigger home. Maybe I want to use the tag to say it's a luxury property. In Winston-Salem, that would mean $700,000 and above. Forsyth County. Guilford County, $800,000 and above. Chapel Hill, Durham, $850,000 and above is what constitute luxury in your market. If you have 2+ luxury properties close in a rolling 24 months, I think, you get to earn your way in to be KW luxury agents. Okay, so that's 2 over the threshold in your market that close. And I think it's a rolling 24 months. It might be 12. I'll double check. But I always like to tag stuff. Is it move up? Is it a first time home buyer? That kind of thing. So you can use those tags for anything that you would like. Okay. Estimated closing date. I want to move in by the end of March, right? Doesn't have to be exact. What is their goal? Okay. What is their time frame? What is the estimated listing price? So I think that he is going to list this for about 800,000 just because we're saying it's luxury, right? Commission rate. What is my half of the commission going to be? What do I expect to get? And this is an important number. And I'm showing you how to add an opportunity from a contact card right now. But when I show you how to add it from the opportunities, you're going to see why this price and commission are so important. Opportunity phase and stage. Opportunity phases. 5 phases, they don't change. When KW agents got together to create Command, they could agree that 5 things happened with every transaction. You go through a period of cultivating the people. Yes, I want to sell my house, but I can't do it until the spring. I need to put a new roof on it. I need to get it painted. Great. That period of time, we're going to be cultivating that transaction and getting it ready to go. Then it's going to turn into an appointment where we sit down, we have our listing appointment, we talk pricing, we talk marketing strategies, all those kind of fun things. It becomes an appointment. They sign all their documents, we go live, they become an active client. Okay. The 4th is when it goes under contract, and the 5th is when it closes. So those are the 5 different phases agents agreed happen to every transaction in some way, shape, or form. The stages, on the other hand, are completely customizable to your business. So this is one of those things that you can customize to yourself. You don't have to use it, but I'm going to show you where that exists and how you can do it. And I've given you some resources. Okay. And then we would create this opportunity and it would open up to the opportunity section. So this is way 1 that you can create it. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple of ways real quick, and then we're going to go into the actual opportunities applet itself. So bear with me one sec. Get my phone screen sharing with you. And I cannot wait for this new update to come out, but I don't think it's out yet for you guys. So we are just going to pretend like it's not until it actually is, and I can show it to you. Okay.
That's tonight, right?
Do what?
Tonight is when the new one comes out.
I don't know if the app will roll out overnight tonight, but we do get some updates overnight tonight, and we'll chat about them in class in the morning.
Okay.
I'll take a little aside and let you guys know what all did release.
Okay.
Because we have a ton coming out. Okay. So the Command app looks like, gotta find it and move it back to its rightful place. Sorry, guys. It looks like this. Okay. If you haven't downloaded the Command app yet, please do. It is a really big asset for you. So from this home screen of the Command app, you can click the plus in the lower right, and you can create an opportunity on the go right there. Okay. So you run into your old friend from college and they say, oh my gosh, so crazy. I ran into you. I saw that you were a Keller Williams agent. I need to sell my house. And go sit down in the car, add the contact to the app, go ahead and get that opportunity started, get back to your desk later and get some more stuff done. Okay. And from within the app, you can also open a contact, just like we just did, and you can create the opportunity from within the contact as well, just like we did on the desktop. There's an opportunities tab. So remember, I told you guys everything in Command kind of works together, right? This is another example of all the different places and ways. And so I meet people that have different preferences on how to do all of this. So there isn't a wrong answer as long as your opportunity gets made. Okay. So any questions on making them from the contact card, making them from the app, you can make them from the home screen of the app. You can make them from inside of a contact in the app, either one. Okay. Now let's move into the opportunities handshake. That's our app on the left. Remember all of those apps on the left. If you're like, I don't remember what this megaphone stands for, you can hover over it, or you can click the white KW on the red background in the upper left corner, and it will pop out the names of these. Okay. So our opportunities, this is the actual applet itself. The green pipeline is for our listings. The orange pipeline is for our buyers. And the purple pipeline is for those crazy enough to handle the world of leases. Okay. So down here, we have some ratios that show us how many listings we have, how many buyers we're working with, how many leases we have going on. What is our trend line in activity when it comes to our transactions? What do we have closing this month down here at the bottom? Okay. Remember I said how important putting your commission, what you expect to get for your commission, and what your expected listing and or purchase price is when you're creating an opportunity. The reason being, over here on the ends of our opportunity pipelines, it shows us our potential gross commission income and our probable gross commission income. Potential is the total of all of the commissions for all of these listing opportunities. So if everything in your pipeline closed for 100% of what you were trying to get it for, that is how much gross commission income you would make. Okay. However, when it's cultivating, you have about a 5% chance you're going to make it to closing. Once you move it to appointment, that goes up. Once you get the appointment and get the listing, that goes up again. The probability that it will close increases. So the probable income is adjusted based on each stage's probability to close. And that's already set for you. However, if you know that your metrics are different, you do have the ability to change those. Okay. So that's why it's so important. If we put junk in, we get junk out, right? You're going to hear me say that a lot. The more information you give the system, the more information the system can give you back. Okay. Up here, we can create an opportunity. It looks very similar to when we were doing it out of Dakota's contact card, except for now I need to add the client, right? When I was making it out of his contact card, his name was already in there. Okay. Now, I almost don't like showing you guys this. Best practice is that you already have your contact in command, right? We should be putting them in. However, things happen, right? If you weren't expecting something and it fell into your lap, your cousin called you and you didn't have them in command yet, right? You can quick create a contact when you're creating the opportunity. Okay. So if my cousin Charlie, I had never added him before, I have the ability to add my cousin Charlie right here from the creation of the opportunity. So you do have that option. However, when I add cousin Charlie, I only have the ability to add his email and his phone number. When I'm quick creating him from an opportunity, that's not enough data to really sustain my database. So if you do it this way, please go back later and get cousin Charlie's birthday put in and his address and all that kind of stuff. Okay. All right, cool. So that's how we create. So that is step one, right? The contact. And step two, when they decide to buy, sell, or invest, you create an opportunity for them. Okay. So we're going to hold on step two here for just a sec. And we're going to look at some of the features that are in here. Again, these are not things that you have to use. My job is not to make you use any of this stuff. It's just to show you what it can do. So I always like to show you guys the bells and whistles. Okay. So from here, right, we talked about the 5 phases, sorry. Cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, closed, right? If I click into listing active, this is now going to show me all of the listings that I have in that active phase, and it's going to show me all of the stages that I have under that phase. So for my listings, I had a staging time that we were getting things staged. I had a period where it was just listed and I was really pushing it on social and getting postcards out and doing all these things. Then it moved into where it was just kind of being shown. Then I had periods of time where I was getting ready for an open house. Then I had a period of time where I was going, on and on and on down the line, right? You guys might be like, I don't need all that. That's fine. You don't have to have it, right? But with each one of these stages, you can also set up checklists. I'm a checklist girl. I have to have them. Back in the day, I had my paper folder, I had my checklist stapled on top, and as I did things, I checked things off my list. If that's still what you guys want to do, good on you. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Keep using your paper checklist. But I do want to show you that checklists exist in here, and I will give you a hint that these checklists are part of the update that is supposed to roll out overnight. So in here, right, remember we clicked into a specific phase. Now up on this upper corner, we have the ability to click the Edit Stages button. The Edit Stages button. When I click that, here are all those stages that I have. Within each one of these stages, I have the ability to set up checklists right here. Okay, so under staging, I got to call and text them and tell the photographers come in, make sure you get the cars out of the driveway, put the sign at the house, home warranty rider if I'm using one, lending sign if I'm using one, put a lockbox on, make sure I get the photographs back, get my marketing materials created, get my property uploaded into the MLS, get my disclosures uploaded into the MLS, assign my lockbox to the property, email the seller the MLS sheet for their review. I've got all these things that I need to do in this time, right? So I've gone ahead and created these checklists. Okay. And everyone's like, well, I don't know what to put on this checklist. Or maybe you do have your own checklist. Either way, I like to be helpful. So this is my checklist. That doesn't mean it's going to be exactly like yours, but it does mean that if you just want to copy mine, you have the ability to do it, and then you can adjust yours as you go. So if you click on Monica's Opportunities checklist in the resources, I'll go ahead and drop these in the chat for you guys. And don't forget, they'll be in the description box on YouTube. There they come. When you click on this, it's going to open it up for you. And just like Command, my listing checklist is green because in Command, my listing pipeline is green. Okay. So I tried to keep it because, we can all get confused. I know I definitely can. And then at the bottom, there's a tab for my buyer's checklists. Oh, Lord. Okay. I was like, what is happening? It was just being slow. So these are the kind of things that I felt like fall into different places in a transaction. I did them just out of my head, right? I just was like, okay, what did I do when this happened? And here are my checklists. Okay. So I'm going to show you how you can add items to your checklist. This is one of the times, right? We're a company of systems and models. Systems take time to set up, but they save you time in the long run, right? This is one of those times. So this is when I like to tell you guys to go get your favorite beverage, turn on your favorite music, get somewhere cozy, and you're going to copy and paste, right? So you're going to either split your screen, which I do sometimes, or if you have two screens, great, whatever works for you. Okay. And so I will use, let's use this under contract and due diligence. So I'm going to click on under contract. Here's my edit stages button at the top. Here's my due diligence. I'm going to open the checklist. I'm going to click add item. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say, was the survey ordered? Copy, paste, save. Copy, add, paste, save. And I'm just going to sit here and do this over and over again until I have the checklist the way I want them. Okay. I promise you it will help you in the long run if you want to use them. If you don't, again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no right way to do your business and no wrong way to do your business. There's just your way to do your business. Okay. But that's how you could set them up. You have my checklist there if you want to use it. Just wanted to let you know. Now, one last tip is within this, there's this button that says client update. So see when I check it, that a little email icon pops up here. On the opportunities, it reminds you if you're going to use client updates, make sure that the description is facing the client, right? Home inspection scheduled does not sound very friendly to my person. So I might want to edit this and say, we have your home inspection scheduled, exclamation point, because that is going to get sent to the client when I check off that item. Danny, go ahead with your question.
On the checklist that you were showing where we could set up our own checklist, copy and paste and stuff. Once that's set up, we don't have to do that again, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's just a one-time setup, and then you can use it over and over.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And you're setting the checklist up for all of your transactions, like Danny was just asking, right? So now anything, any listing that falls into due diligence period will have a checklist, right? I won't have to set it up each time. Okay. And then if I turn on those client notifications, number one, each opportunity has the ability to turn client updates on and off. So if you have a person that doesn't want to get them, they don't have to. But sometimes if you have people who do, in fact, want to be notified, one of the biggest things people complain about real estate agents is lack of communication. Okay. Hold on one second. I'm going to show you what these look like. Pull up my client Dakota's email here. So if you turn on the client notifications for that opportunity and you have some checklists set up that have client notification boxes checked, as you go through and check off that you're doing these things, it will actually send them an email that says, hey, client, we're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of the tasks we completed for your address. If it is a listing, it will have the picture of the listing. It will show them what you did today. And then it's got your signature and all your stuff at the bottom, right? So this is one of the most underutilized pieces of Command. And it's something for which I used to pay $99 a month. So I'm just throwing that out there. It's one little piece of the entire ecosystem of command. And I used to pay $100 a month for that functionality before I had command. Right? So it's there for you guys to use if you want. Don't forget your answers. .kw.com articles have help with all of that, and you have me. So if this is something you want to set up, I do teach classes on this one specific topic. We don't have time to go further into detail about it today, but I did want to touch on it so you guys know. And so you can see it work. Like this has the checklist right here. I can click on it and say, okay, check, check. I did this, right? So any opportunity that drops into a phase or stage, you can drag these around to like cards if you didn't know that. Now this has 5 checklist items. That's for this specific opportunity. And if I click on it and I say, okay, is this property in its proper stage? I want to make sure that I'm checking on this tomorrow morning. Then I can come over here and say, I want to do this tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Okay, this has now become a task for me to do tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So it will be on my home screen widget. It will be on my task in my command app, right? So I'll have that task set up. Okay, if I don't give it a due date, I just have it to check off when I go into the opportunity and check it off. Go ahead, Danny. Do you have another question, honey?
I do. The clients, regardless of whether buyer or sellers, they have to sign a document agreeing to get those updates, right?
They don't have to sign a document. They agreeing to get it. It's just if they want to get it. If they want us to notify them of the things that we're checking off the list each day, if we want to offer that as a service, right?
I thought I thought I saw a form that where they had to sign to agree.
Not for that thing in specific. That's just, hey, we have your listing and these are the things we did for it. Or you're our buyer and your home inspection scheduled, your radon inspection got scheduled. It's all going to be on this date, right? And then for each one,
we had to have it written for.
Say it again, Sheila.
You said yesterday that once we got their approval, then we could do something. We talked about that yesterday.
Well, I mean, their approval for like emailing and stuff or calling, that is if you're in a relationship with them. So if you look at the Consumer Protection Act, and trust me, you're probably going to see some forms come out about the Consumer Protection Act, calling and emailing.
Okay, I got that mixed up. Sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome. But this in particular, they're your client, right? So this is more just like, hey, do you want me to notify you when we do these things or no? If that's something you want to offer.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions, guys. Please ask questions. The other cool thing is the ones that are automatically there because you set them up, those are great. But say that this one person in particular, and this, I always use this as an example because this actually did happen to me. I had a client that did not live in state any longer, and his house was like 5 minutes from my house. And he asked me to make sure I got the yard mowed. It was spring. He asked me to make sure I got the yard mowed every 4 weeks. That was back when houses actually stayed on the market for a little bit longer back in those days. But that's not something I normally did for somebody. It just was that one thing. And I said, yes, I'll make sure that the guy comes and mows the grass and that the money gets left out for him, et cetera, et cetera. So that I could just click here and say, just for this listing at 123 Main Street, call someone to cut the grass, right? And I could set a due date for that and remind myself that I need to do that tomorrow at 11. And then I will get a task to do that tomorrow at 11, right? So I can add one-off items to a specific opportunity if I wanted to use these, if that makes sense. Good. All right. So I wanted to take that pause. Any questions about checklists? before we move away from that. Okay, so we took a pause here. We entered our contact into command. The contact decided to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. We went in to create an opportunity. Okay, so let's go back to where we were there. So I'm actually going to create a fresh opportunity here. So I'm going to click. Remember, there's multiple ways we can create one. I'm just doing it from the opportunities applet. And I'm going to do, y'all show me in the chat. Do you want to see a buyer or a listing? It's a democracy. Whoever's got the most votes wins. Buyer or listing. Buyer. Buyer.
Right.
All right, the buyers have it. All right, so let's go buyer. And the client, Dakota, he's already in there. Co-buyer, Sasha, she's already related to Dakota, so it shows up for me pretty easily there. Okay. By default, Dakota Perry dash buyer, that's how it names it automatically. But I can say, well, I know he's buying 600 Quarterstaff Road. Right. I know that's what he's purchasing. I can use my custom tags, 2023. And he's moving up. And maybe he's going to use Randall Perry as his attorney, and I already know that. Whatever tag do you want to use? I know that he wants to close by the 24th of February. His time frame's a month. Only the things with the red asterisks are the things that are required. But I do recommend that you at minimum put in their budget. That's one number, not a range. What's the max? And your half of the commission so that the system can calculate your potential gross income. Okay. The furthest I can take an opportunity when I'm creating it is to active. I cannot create it and make it under contract out of the gate. Okay. So I'm going to say he's active. We're already showing he picked the house. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and click create. Now that has now opened my opportunity for me, and mine might look slightly different than yours. And for that, I apologize, but you're getting a sneak peek. So now we did this, right? The contact decided to buy or sell. We created an opportunity. And now we're inside of the opportunity where we are going to go to the documents tab. This one right here. Okay. Now it says pick a checklist type. That's right here on the left-hand side. This part's important. Okay. Keep in mind, this is a Winston-Salem office transaction, and I'm only doing that because that's where my license is hanging. Each one of your offices has its own checklist. Okay. So in Winston-Salem's office, I can choose residential as my type of transaction because I don't know if they're buying commercial, if they're buying land, new construction, all of those can come with a little bit different set of forms. So whatever your office has set up for you is which one you need to click, right? So now I see that in this office, I'm in my consultation folder for a buyer. The working with real estate agents disclosure for buyers is required. The exclusive buyer agency agreement is required for me to turn it in. Okay. Optional. This is where I just uploaded. These are things that we say that we give our clients within the exclusive buyer agency agreement. We said we gave them questions and answers on working with real estate agents when they signed this disclosure. So here's a copy. If you click on anything that's underlined in here, I'm the one that uploads the documents here for you. I'm not necessarily the one that set up your office's checklist, but I am the one that uploaded the documents for you. So I try to make sure that everything is fresh every year. When our new forms come out in July or anytime that anything updates, I always go in here and make the updates. So this is the most recent questions and answers on working with real estate agents brochures for buyers. It's right here. If you want to print it, if you want to download it, if you need to grab it on the go, this is one of the places where you can do so. Here's a sample offer to purchase, a sample pro services, questions and answers on home inspections, questions and answers on due diligence. This is a North Carolina Real Estate Commission form as opposed to a North Carolina Association of Realtors form. Two different entities there. So I love this form though. I think it makes a lot of sense since due diligence is such a big deal in North Carolina. So I've gone ahead and given it to you guys here if you need it as a reference, or if you want to print it and hand it out to somebody, as well as the lead-based paint brochure. Okay, so if they're underlined, you can click on them and download them or print them. Cool. Questions about that piece? Good. Cool. Now, if you're going to use Docusign, this is the one thing I'm going to say about it before I move into the second half of the class where we actually look at Docusign rooms. If you're going to use Docusign rooms, anything that has this teal DS stamp next to it, when I start a transaction in Docusign rooms, those forms are automatically going to be inside of that, ready for you to get filled out and signed. That's the automatic form mapping function. Okay. So if you don't pick your checklist type first, it can't do that. Right? But no matter where you get your form signed, the only thing that matters is that they end up where they belong. So you're working with real estate agents, the signed copy gets uploaded here. Your exclusive buyer agency agreement, the signed copy gets uploaded here. Then once you upload something, let me just grab a PDF here, of which I have 9 million. Once I upload something here, this button has now lit and I can submit this to the market center. Okay. So once I have my 2 required documents, I can submit them to the market center for review. If I had a question about something, I can click this add a comment button and I can @ my leadership team. You would also see my name here. It's just that I'm in my own account, so I don't show up. But you'll see like your market center administrator, your compliance officers, your team leader. Hopefully you know who in your market center is the one that checks your compliance. I know that Amanda checks our compliance, so I can @ Amanda and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know they ended up purchasing new construction, so I'm having to upload some additional documents or whatever the case may be. I had a question about XYZ, and that's going to notify that person, okay, that you sent them a message. So any questions about adding a comment? Good. Check the chat. Okay. All right. So we have 3 folders. Consultation. These are the 2 documents that are required for me to send to the market center. Under contract. This is where it gets a little bit deeper, especially for a buyer, right? MLS sheet. Says it's conditional. What is the condition? There's an I. You can hover over it. If the property is listed in the MLS, you must upload the MLS sheet, right? If it was a for sale by owner, it doesn't have an MLS sheet. That's why it's conditionally required, right? Does that make sense? Required, offer to purchase. Required, page 16, receipt of monies. Conditional, a second receipt of monies. Why? Sometimes the seller signs that they got the due diligence, and then the attorney signs that they got the earnest money, and it's on 2 separate sheets of paper. If you got it on 2 separate sheets of paper, here's the spot for you to upload the second sheet. If you got it on 1, you don't need to do it. Okay. Fully executed residential property, mineral oil and gas rights, lead-based paint, conditional if the house was built prior to 1978. Your office may have affiliated business disclosures, Keller mortgage disclosures, FHA VA financing addendums, conditional if the buyer went with an FHA or VA loan, right? So that's what these conditional and required buttons or optional buttons mean over here on the left-hand side, just so you guys know. Last but not least is our closed folder. Okay. Closing disclosure, professional services disclosure and election, referral agreement, if there was a referral on the transaction, right? Now, best practice is to turn these in as you go. I had my buyer consultation today. They signed this working with real estate agents. They signed this buyer agency agreement. I've uploaded them and I'm going to turn them in, because that way this folder gets approved and I am done with this folder. I'm then only going to need to work in under contract. Go ahead, Danny.
On the conditional,
Mhm.
they, gee, I forgot what I was gonna ask them. Never mind. I'm sorry.
It's okay. If you think about it, just come back to me. Not a problem. Not a problem. Happens to me all the time. But the key is to do it along the way, right? Because what happens, and no one's doing it. I've had to be a compliance officer that checked paperwork, which was the stuff of nightmares for me personally. But nobody's trying to be mean, right? But if somebody has gone through and turned in all of their documents and all they have left is their closing disclosure for me to check, for me to get them paid, and then this other person has 30 documents that I've never seen before, whose am I going to check first? I mean, right? It's just the way it is. And so if you turn stuff in along the way, it also helps you out, because if something's wrong, which quite often there could be, like you accidentally let them check that they wanted exclusive representation at all times, and then you let them put an offer on someone in your office's listing, that buyer agency agreement is now invalid and wrong. So you need to get it fixed. If you wait until 3 days after closing to turn all of your documents in, guess what you have to do? You have to go back to that buyer that closed 3 days ago that's trying to move in and say, hey, sorry, I need to get this fixed because I messed up my paperwork. Whereas if you would have turned it in earlier, we would have already caught it. You would have gotten it fixed during the transaction and it would be done and taken care of, right? No one's doing it to be mean. They're doing it to protect your license. They're doing it to protect your livelihood. Nobody wants to get a brown envelope in the mail. There's not actually a real estate jail, but there are lots of real estate fines, and I don't want them. And I hope you guys don't either, right? Nobody wants to get taken to court. So any questions on this? Because it's super important. It's one of the least fancy and most important parts of your job. Okay. All right. So let me try to find real quick. Let me pull up a tab and take it off screen so that YouTube doesn't take our video down. Hopefully. Guys, if you do see that YouTube takes our video down for disclosing personal information, even though it's a dog's personal information, just let me know and I'll send you the video if you need it. Let me try to find one of these so you guys can see.
Do you get on the internet here?
No, yeah.
Bear with me 1 second, y'all. Apparently I typed the word compliance a lot of times in my emails because I thought that was going to be easier for me to pull it up. Here we go. All right.
There you go.
So when something does get returned, okay, you're going to get a notification in your little bell icon up at the top of command. Right up here, you're going to get a notification. In your command app on your phone, you're going to get a notification in your bell icon. And you're also going to receive an email from compliance app. Okay. So if I open this one up, it's going to say, hello, Monica, your compliance request for Dakota Perry listing at 600 Quarter Shaft Road has been returned by your office for updates. Please review, update, and resubmit once the changes have been made. It's going to show you what got returned or was a document missing, right? They might return the folder if you were supposed to upload the FHA disclosure and you didn't. Okay, so it's going to give you kind of an overview. And then if you click on view opportunity, it's going to actually take you directly to that opportunity. For now, yes, you will get notified in the command app if this gets returned, but you have to take the action in desktop. So if you see a notification come through on your app, just wait until you're back at your computer. Okay. So now I have this returned one. I can see these documents got returned. There's a little chat bubble that would tell me what the problem is, right? These are just fake so you guys can see it, but you get the point. It could say you're missing the signatures on page 2. You had them sign exclusive representation, but you put an offer on a property from the office. You know, you missed the signature on the last page of the offer to purchase. Whatever it is, it will have a little note and it will look like this. I just wanted you guys to know what it would look like to have it returned.
It's returned, I'll have a red.
Any questions about that
I already knew that.
and how you're going to get notified?
A lot of this seems very, it's really,
So since this one was unsigned, maybe I just uploaded the wrong version, right? I can come over to the 3 dots and I can click update. I can upload the correct version and make a comment and say, sorry, uploaded wrong file. This one is signed, right? Whatever it is I need to say. Where am I uploading them from? This one's connected to Docusign already, or it could be connected to Dotloop if you're someone that uses Dotloop, or you could just be manually uploading it from your computer if you saved it to your computer, whether you signed it in ink, zip forms, SkySlope, whatever. Then I could browse for my new file. Upload it, click update. You're going to see the color change to purple. And now I have the ability to resubmit the corrected document to the Market Center for approval. Okay, questions on that? Everybody good? Just want to make sure. Always ask questions, not just right now, later if you have them. Okay. All right. So I'm going to touch on a couple of things before we go to break. Well, actually, we have I have to show you commissions too. I always get asked, okay, so I have my buyer and we made an offer on 123 Main Street and I turned in my working with real estate agents and I turned in my buyer agency agreement and those were approved. And then we put an offer in and it got accepted and I turned in my offer and I turned in my disclosures and everything in my under contract folder was already approved. And now they don't want to buy the house anymore. Do I need to create a new opportunity? No. It's the same opportunity to work with that buyer, right? You don't want to have to get anything that didn't change, like a buyer agency agreement or working with real estate agents, and resubmit it all and go through that work again, right? You're just going to change the offer and the disclosures and that kind of stuff, okay? So when that happens, whether this is my listing, I got an offer, we went under contract, the buyers decided to walk away, or it's my buyer, we made an offer, my buyers got to home inspection and were like, hard pass, and walked away. Either situation, your listed or buyer documents don't change. they're approved, they're fine. Okay. Your under contract documents will change. So when you're in your under contract folder, you're just going to come up, hold on, let me upload one thing so that you guys can see what it would look like. I want you to get the full visual experience. Okay, so pretend all these were turned in, they were all green, they're all approved. I'm going to come up here to where this says under contract, drop it, click add version, new contract on 567 Maple Avenue. Create new version, boom, clean checklist. I still maintained my old one because we're real estate agents and we got to keep stuff forever, right? Almost. So I can still go back and see those old files. But this is my new file that I'm working. Does that make sense? So no, you do not have to create a new opportunity. I've seen at the height of the market, I saw some people that had like 16 opportunities for the same person. I was like, stop doing that. You can just create new versions of the folder. Okay. Questions?
Yeah, so as you get the one that has multiple
Mhm.
opportunities under the same, well, different contracts,
Mhm.
are you able to edit the previous one? Because everyone can't be a new contract. Like, like say the person looked at they wanted the contract 4 times. You have your initial one, like you just did a new contract for 567. But what if they go on a new one for 123 Apple Street? So, like, can you edit that one that's already there? Okay, so yeah.
Now you have 3. Right? So you can just keep adding them. I mean, I don't think we're going to be living in that market for a while, but theoretically, yes, I could just sit here and say, okay, new offer, 987, I don't know, Sticks Avenue. They decided to move out to the country. Right? So you can just keep adding them.
Okay, you can keep adding them, but not edit the old news. So it'll be like,
I mean, I can still go to my original one and delete documents and upload documents or anything like that, but it's just going to maintain all that history because we need to, right? I kept everything in triplicate. So I'm dating myself, but I had everything in paper, and then I had everything in my Google Drive, and then I had everything on a hard drive thing like this thing.
okay.
Right.
So on the current version, when we make a new version, is the listing agreements going to automatically come over, or do we have to
Yeah,
upload?
you're still in the same opportunity, Danny. That's a great question. All that stuff has already been approved. It's just sitting there as gold. It doesn't need to be updated. And then under the under contract folder, you just have your different versions.
Right, okay.
That way you don't have to resubmit, especially with the listing. God, I don't want to resubmit all that stuff. Right, you'd have to re-upload everything all over again. Cool. Questions? Check the chat. Cool. Okay, so a couple of other things while we're hanging out here in opportunities. If you hit these 3 dots, right, you could run into a situation where what you need to upload does not exist on this on this checklist. There is the ability to add a document, and you can say, you know, I don't know, private road maintenance agreement, whatever it is, something you feel like you need it to be in there and you need your broker in charge to see it, but it doesn't exist in the checklist. You have the ability to add your own document right there, right? I would be wary of doing it because if they didn't ask for it, I don't want to make them have to check it. But you do have that ability to click the 3 dots and click add a document. You also have the ability to split and attach a PDF. This is gold for a buyer. A lot of times we go into the MLS, we download the disclosures that are attached to the listing in the MLS, and they have put them all together and scanned them as one document when it's actually 3 documents. Maybe it's the 4-page property disclosure, the 1-pager for the MOG, and the 2-pager for the lead-based paint. And they put them all together in one file. But when you turn them in command, they need to be separate documents, right? So when that happens, then I can just go, okay, I need to split and attach a PDF. I'm going to browse my files. I think I have a disclosure somewhere that's all together. Hold on. Well, I swore I had one. Just take this thing right here. Just disregard what document this actually is. I think this is like an identity and style guide or something, but I just want to show you guys how to split it. So I can do this. I uploaded the document. I clicked the 3 things. I said I want to split and attach a document. Now I've got my multiple page document listed over there on the side. And I can say, okay, this is actually going to be the residential property disclosure. And it's page 1 through 4 of this document. And it's 1, 2, 3 main property disclosure. I'm going to attach more pages. This is going to be my mineral oil and gas rights. It's page 5. It's 1, 2, 3 main MOG. Attach more. This is going to be my lead-based paint. And it is page 6 through 7. And it is 1, 2, 3 main LVP. Okay. Split and attach. It will put them all where they go. It takes it a second. There it goes. Right. And it will create me a little custom folder down here that's got the entire document together if I need it for future reference. Okay. Which brings me to custom folders. You can create custom folders for anything that you want to keep as an agent that you don't need to turn in to your market center for compliance purposes. You can create multiple custom folders. Like, we don't need to see your buyer pre-approval, but you might want to keep it for your records. Put that down in your custom folder. Right? Anything like that. Okay. And last but not least, exporting documents. I love this because I do like to keep things in multiple places just in case something crashes. I have a fear of that. You can export any documents out of here, old document version, custom folders, your active documents. You can password protect these if you need to send them over to the attorney. You can do so with password protection. You can email copies to your clients. Maybe your client's young and their parents are helping them and they want a copy of all the documents. You could send them down here and add their parent in there to get that email, and you could password protect them also. Okay, so all of that lives right here under these 3 dots. Right, adding documents that don't exist in the checklist, splitting and attaching, and exporting documents. Cool. Questions? Up here, you can see the client's names, and you also have the ability, go ahead and attach the listing. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's a Berkshire listing, a KW listing, your listing. Go ahead and attach it by clicking that select from listing buttons up here. Right. If it's not your listing, right now it says it's showing only my listings. I want to change this to all listings and then just search for it by, you know, address, MLS number, whatever. I can just click select, and then that listing is attached up here because you'll need that in the next step. Cool. All right. You also have the ability to take notes, and you also have a timeline over here that shows you everything that's been happening. But now we're going to focus on offers and commissions. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this one actually. So here's the one we had been working on. So let's reference back. We entered our contact. We created our opportunity. We went to the documents tab, picked a checklist type. We're skipping over click start a transaction to open Docusign or .loop. You go get your documents done, and then you add your documents back. North Carolina Real Estate Commission law says submit your documents within 72 hours of signatures. That is not our rule. That is a North Carolina Real Estate Commission rule. Do people follow it? I'm not going to say. I'm just saying that that's what they say. Okay. All right. So now we are going to create an offer and accept it. I know that we're going over a lot at one time. Keep in mind, you wouldn't be doing all of this in one day, right? It'd be spread out over the time of the transaction. But it doesn't matter if it's your buyer or your seller, you're going to create the offer and accept it. Okay. So we've done our documents, we've turned them in. We're now going to go over to our offers and commissions tab, and we are going to click add new offer. You can call it whatever you want to call it, and click create offer. Okay. Now, this is another time where we have red asterisks showing. Okay. If the red asterisk exists, you need to use it. You need to upload the actual, or you need to fill in the actual blank. If it doesn't, fill it in if you want to. But go ahead and click select from KWLS, get that property in there. Okay. Hold on. You want to make sure that that property is in there because you're going to need it in the next step. Okay. So questions about this: version name, offer date, close date, property address. Nobody? Good. We're going to move forward to parties. Oh, it's not a valid address. Yes, I know it's not a valid address. Sorry. It was a fake listing that I put in there. Buyer. It knows this is a buyer, right? We created a buyer opportunity. It knows that Dakota was my buyer and that was his email and that was his phone number because that was already in command. And it knows that I'm the associate that's managing it, and that is my email. If I had picked one of Stephanie's listings, it would have already put Stephanie down here as the associate on the opposite side of the transaction. All I need to do is add the seller, at least the name, because that's the only thing that's got the red asterisk there. Okay. If you want to put more information in here, fantastic. That's great. You don't have to. Only need the things with the red asterisks. Questions? Okay, cool. Moving forward to terms. All that matters is that the total sales price is in the sales price box. You can't type inside of the sales price box. I could type $400,000 in cash in that box, and it would make the sales price $400,000. Or I could type $400,000 in financing, and $400,000 would go in that box. Or if I know that my client did $100,000 down and they're getting $300,000 finance, then I'll still get $400,000 in that box. So it doesn't matter how you want to do it, as long as you have the actual sales price in the sales price box. Does that make sense? If you want the actual amounts for your records, put them in there. But as long as the total sales price is in the box, that's what matters. Questions on that? Okay. Cool. So earnest amount, put it in if you want. Option fee, due diligence. They just don't call it due diligence across the country. Termination, due diligence period. How many days is it? Seller will contribute this much to a residential service contract. That means they're going to give you like a home warranty. Seller contribute this much to seller closing costs. Agent analysis. What are the pros? What are the cons? This is great if you're doing multiple offers on your listing. It will generate a spreadsheet for you. If it's just your buyers, I don't even bother. I just click save. Okay. I click accept. I'm not going to go into serious detail on commissions. That is a question for your NCAs, the people that handle all the money. That is not me. But once we get here, you're going to see your deductions. This is the total commission. How much goes to the office? How much goes to your royalty? How much going to your company, et cetera, et cetera. How much can I expect to net down here? And then what is it going to do to my cap? This will continue to get more real time as we go from Winmore, which is our old system of managing money, to Cloudmore, which is our new system of managing money. And then you submit this sucker to your market center. So in order to get paid, you got to turn in your documents, you got to turn in your commission tab, paid. Cool? Ask questions along the way, guys, if you need help. We are going to go into a 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back and look at Docusign rooms for the people that want to look at Docusign rooms. If you don't, feel free to hop off, and I will see you guys tomorrow if I don't see you when we get back from break. But 5 minutes, you guys go ahead and stretch and get some water and all that fun stuff. Here we go. Okay, so let's go back to the piece that we left out, the Docusign piece. Again, if you use .loop, totally cool. If you love zip forms and Docusign e-signature, awesome. You like getting stuff signed in paper, totally fine, right? Then you can take those steps to get your documents into Command. But I do like to show you guys what KW provides to us, which is Docusign rooms, right? And how it fits into this puzzle, okay? So that's going to be step 3. So we entered our contact, we created our opportunity. Now we are going to click start a transaction. So we're going to go to our documents tab, just like the path to get paid shows us. We're going to pick our checklist type. We have these lovely forms that have this teal DS next to them. And like I said, those are going to automatically go into Docusign. Please note, this says Dakota Perry -buyer 600 Quarterstaff Road. Okay. Now watch what happens. I'm going to click start a transaction. If you're a .loop user and you have .loop connected, you can click it. But we're going to go to Docusign. It's going to open Docusign for me. If your computer does not open Docusign, that is because you have a pop-up blocker enabled on your computer. So if you clicked start a transaction and a new window did not open with Docusign, look up here in your URL bar on this little corner on the right. You should see like a little red exclamation point. That is because you have a pop-up blocker enabled, okay? So click it, allow pop-ups, and that won't happen anymore, okay? Questions about that? Cool. All right, so then we're going to proceed to log into our Docusign account. Always start in Command first. Once you have started the transaction from Command so that it's connected, you can always go to rooms.docusign.com. It's just starting in Command first, and boom. Dakota Perry, buyer, 600 Quarterstaff Road, Docusign. Dakota Perry, buyer, 600 Quarterstaff Road. Those two things are now connected together. Anything that had the teal DS next to it is now in your Docusign room. So you don't have to go hunt and find it, right? However, if you need to add something additional, we're working with a buyer. Maybe this buyer needs a buyer possession before closing attached to the offer. I did not put a buyer possession before closing into the mapping because those are used few and far between, right? And I don't know if you're going to actually need it, but you can come up and click the add button. You can choose Docusign forms. Okay. yours will not look as crazy as mine because I'm in 4 offices. All 4 offices groups are showing up. You will only see your market centers check like list of documents here. So if you're Greensboro, I'm pretty sure you see buyer packet residential and listing packet residential. If you're in Winston, you're going to see FSBO, KWRE buyer forms, KWRE listing forms, KWRE vacant land forms. If you're in Chapel Hill, you have the ones that are buyer dash, buyer dash, buyer dash, whatever. And if you're in Durham, I believe you are the ones that are all capitalized. I may be a little off, but I'm pretty sure that that is correct. So again, your list won't look as crazy as mine, right? But what's in these, this is just where somebody in your office pared down how many sets of forms you need to look at or how many forms you need to look at in that set. But you always have the ability to come down here under the libraries as well and just pick NCAR or North Carolina Realtors Association. Okay. And that's all of the North Carolina Association of Realtor forms. Okay. Now, you can search buyer possession before closing. Click the checkbox, add that form to your room. So that's how you can add additional forms that were not mapped to go into your room. Okay. Templates. You do have the ability to set up static form templates here in Docusign rooms. My tech tip for the day that's going to get released into your Facebook groups post this class is going to be a short video about setting up static form templates. And that I also teach that in Docusign tips, tricks, and time savers class, which there is a version of that available on my YouTube channel. So you can set up form templates and I'll show you what those look like. As of right now, if I open up this exclusive buyer agency agreement, I've not applied my template, right? So it does know some stuff because it's connected to command. It knows that that's my company name. But all this other stuff is blank. I'm just scrolling through so you guys can see it. Get down here. It knows my company name and the address because that is already inside of command. It knows my phone number and my email. But everything else is blank, right? But if I have templates and I right click this exclusive buyer agency agreement and I click apply form template and I apply my template, now when I open my exclusive buyer agency agreement to fill out what is specific to this transaction, then it's already got a bunch of my stuff checked off. Residential, the counties I work in, for a single buyer, what I expect to get paid in my commission is on my template. This is on my template. I already had those checked off on my templates. NA put in that box was on my template. This was on there, right? All the stuff is already in there. My license number, firm license number, all that fun stuff, because it was in my template. Okay, so that's how you apply those. Now, normally, of course, it's going to do that while I'm on camera. I think I've used Dakota for too many tests. Normally, it would have also put Dakota in as the buyer. I don't know why it didn't do it today, but if you ever see it not fill your client in, I want to bring it to your, it's a good thing to know anyway. All of that stuff is coming out of the details tab. So in this details tab, you can always click edit. You can add in seller names, seller 1, seller 2, listing agent 1, listing agent 2, buyer 1, which I don't know why it did not bring Dakota over. Just wants to be crazy with me today. And their email. would have already come in. But if it didn't, you can do that. And then if I go back to my document and open exclusive buyer agency, you'll see that that details tab filled in Dakota's name. There you go, right there. And that usually happens automatically. Remember, my stuff has some upgrades that yours doesn't have, so it can lead to some wonky stuff sometimes. But that should automatically flow for you. But you can see they're going to continue to make improvements to the integration from Command to Docusign Rooms. Okay. One of those recent integrations is from within the opportunity, the ability to sign a document. This is only for you to sign it, right? So for example, a lot of us in our offices may have these agent disclosure forms that say, I checked with the Department of Transportation, I checked the flood maps, I did this. I'm the only one that signs this. No one else has to sign this, right? You can actually upload the document. Excuse me. I'm just going to grab something to upload there so I can show you. If I have a document uploaded here, I can click this checkbox now and come up and click sign document. And it'll open DocuSign and I can sign it. And then it just uploads the signed copy, but it's only for me to sign it, not for anybody else yet. But this is kind of the first step to a further integration that's coming down the road that I can't disclose to you yet, but I can disclose this piece to you. So we're going to get more and more of that kind of higher functionality, right? Moving everything to a more streamlined method. Just remember that DocuSign, the only thing we're using it for is to get signatures. We're not managing our documents there. Your leadership team is not looking in your DocuSign for anything. You're just using it to get the signatures done, and then you're coming back to Command to turn the stuff in. Right? All right, cool. So now that we have stuff in here, I'm going to go ahead and apply my form template to my working with real estate agents as well. Can't ever remember which one it is. Go ahead and apply that. Let me make sure that that filled it in. We're just going to get working with real estate agents and buyer agency signed first, so you guys can see it. So see what that template did? It checked all my boxes for me and put that stuff in there. Okay. All right. So now to get stuff signed, I want to get my working with real estate agent signed. It's completely filled out. We're going to pretend like I completely filled out my exclusive buyer agency form and we're ready to get it signed. So those are the two things I want to sign. If I wanted to send them copies of all of these samples and questions and answers brochures, then I could check these off too and send them along as well. Okay. Now that I have checked what I need to send, I'm going to click the pen. Who is signing? I'm signing because there's a buyer agency agreement in here. I'm the buyer's agent. I need to sign. For this example, we're just going to use one buyer, and that's Dakota. So I need to sign and the buyer needs to sign, and that's it. I'm going to click continue. And what this is doing right now is it's laying down all of the signatures, all of the dates, all of the things so that you don't have to drag and drop signatures. You don't have to add any of that stuff. It's already going to be there for you. Okay. It's preparing your envelope. That's what it's doing. So now from this screen, I can drag my documents into the order that I want. I always like for my working with real estate agents to go first, my buyer agency to go next. And then on my buyer agency, it said that I gave them samples and a questions and answers on home inspections brochure, which I did because they're right here. They're going together with this package. Okay. So you can drag and rearrange. Now, currently, this is set where I am number 1 and my client is number 2, which means that I have to sign first before my client is going to receive the email. So I've had some people that didn't notice this and they send it and then they leave their desk and then their client's like, I thought you were sending me something to sign. And they're like, I did. Well, they didn't get it because you didn't sign it and they're number 2. So if you just want everyone to get it at one time, you just uncheck. That means that both people are going to receive it simultaneously. So if you have to run out the door, they're still going to get it and get to sign it, and then you can sign it later. That's what this signing order button is. This signing order, though, does give you the ability, a question I get a lot, is what if my client shared the same email address? You can add both of them here, but they have to go in sequential order. If they're sharing an email address, client number 1 would have to receive and sign, and then a second email will come back to the same email address for client number 2 to sign it.
Could you repeat that, please?
Yep. If 2 clients are sharing an email address, okay, you cannot have signing order turned off. I would have to have it turned on, and I can like add a recipient here. I don't want to add it from contacts. Hold on. I'm going to add Sasha. So say his wife, Sasha, uses his email. She doesn't have her own. They would have to go in order in order to be able to share the email. He would need to receive the email, do his part to sign, and then Sasha would need to receive a second email at the same address, which will not generate until Dakota finishes.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. Okay, questions about that? Good. All right, cool. We do have the ability to do in-person signing. You can change this over to in-person signing if you're going to sit around a table and pass around a computer. I'm always very candid with you guys. I don't like in-person signing. I don't like it at all. I don't think it works very well personally. I'm sure it will get upgrades as we go along, but it does exist. You can use it. It's just not my favorite thing in the world, but I do show you how to do it in Docusign tips, tricks, and time savers if you're curious. Okay. You can write a happy little message. I'm so excited to be working with you as your buyer's agent, Dakota, right? And they will get it. We're going to click next. It's going to show you what you're sending to get signed and who is signing it, right? There's my check boxes. There's Dakota's signature. There's his date. Here's my exclusive buyer agency agreement. There's his signatures. There's mine. His, mine, his, mine. Now, this is one place I always like to draw attention. Dual agency, everybody's favorite, because it's not confusing to people at all, is it? Yes, it is. But to make it less confusing, okay, notice how this signature is solid, or this initial is solid blue, and this one is hollow. That's because this one is not required. If I click on it over here, you can see it's not a required field. But if I click on this one, it is a required field. So watch what happens if somebody gets this. You can click preview in the upper right corner, and you can preview the receipt of these documents as yourself or as your client. I'm going to look at it through the eyes of Dakota, and you can actually interact with the document right here from this preview. So he would receive the email, open it, and click start. And okay, I'm going to sign this, get it, cool. Page 1, cool. Page 2, cool. 3, yeah. 4, whoop, straight to the bottom of page 5, because these were not required. So one of two things is going to happen. People like me, I'm not even going to see those. I'm going to click, 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 click until it's done. It's going to send it back to you. It's going to be wrong because I didn't sign anything for dual agency. People like my mom who read everything is going to see this and go, wait, hold on. Let's see. Oh, I want exclusive representation. I don't want them representing anybody else. Right? Then I go show her a listing by her office. Guess what? Wrong. I'm gonna have to send this back and get it signed again. Right? So in lieu of doing that to yourself and your clients or somebody, I see people sign all of them. Right? I've seen people sign all 3 boxes because they just didn't know. They didn't know they weren't supposed to. Right? Have the conversation about dual agency in the forefront when you're having your buyer consultation, right? And then you know dual agency is the right answer because they said, yes, that's fine. I want to be able to see the listings by your office because my offices in our markets respectively have the highest number of listings. So why would I not want to be able to show my buyer the listings from my market center, right? So go ahead and click on dual agency and make it required. Or if they did say they wanted designated or exclusive, of course, make that the required one. And then just get rid of these. Not pertinent, don't matter, because the option we're checking is dual agency. Same thing on a listing agreement, right? Have the conversation up front, make what they're actually wanting to do the required initial. Now let's preview. And this is so much nicer and less confusing. Start, sign, 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 sign. Oop, dual agency, we talked about that. Cool, sign, 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 done. Right? Questions? Good. Over here, we have a little preview pane here. I like this thing, especially if I have a bunch of documents. Like I know that dual agency thing is on page 5. So if I'm getting in here, I know everything else is done. I'm just going to slide to page 5, double click. It'll take me straight there. Required, delete, delete, move forward. I'm going to use this sample document here. Say you were getting the disclosure signed that you downloaded from the MLS. Those are not Docusign forms. Those are PDFs that are, you downloaded them to your computer and you put them in here. For those, you would need to say, okay, Dakota needs to sign this. He needs to date this. He needs to initial that, right? He needs to initial that. Like you would need to drag and drop the initials where they go. Okay. Things like mineral oil and gas rights, it's got all those little initials right on top of each other. Quick tip, you can drop it, you can resize it, you can right click it and copy it, and then you can just click paste to location, paste to location. It stays in the same size so that you don't have to resize it again. And you just put them where they go. If you have one of those like rows of initials like that. Cool. Get rid of all this. Questions about any of that? So if it is a PDF that you uploaded in here, you do need to drag and drop. But if it's a Docusign form, the form mapping will do its job as long as you tell it who needs to sign. Cool? Questions? All right, I'm going to send this so you guys can see what happens. It's going to bring me back into my envelope. And it's going to say, hey, Monica, you need to sign this thing. Needs my signature. Click. Sign. I don't sign the working with real estate agents. So when I click continue, it's going to take me straight to the buyer agency, which is where I actually do need to sign. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. Boop. and finish. So if I had us in sequential order, right, it would take me doing that before Dakota would ever receive the email to sign. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Because I've had some people call me and be like, it's not working. It is. You just didn't sign. And I need to log myself out because now we're going to go be Dakota. So that I can show you what it looks like. Let me pull up his Gmail. Hold on one sec. And we get email notifications and all that kind of fun stuff. You have the ability in Docusign to change what kind of notifications you get. If you don't want 5 million emails from it. Okay, so this is Dakota's email, right? This is what your client would see. If I had written him a little happy message, he would see it right here. He's going to see a list of the documents that exist in the envelope. That's what it looks like. He's going to click review documents. It's going to open up. He's going to click continue. If the internet would work with us, there we go. He's going to sign, 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 finish. Okay. Now, if this was a listing, I get a lot of questions about the disclosures, right? Namely the property disclosure, that 4-page document. Whoever you have in position 1 as seller 1 is the one that's going to be assigned to answer all of the questions on the residential property disclosure, mineral oil and gas rights, and lead-based paint if you're using a lead-based paint. So please make sure whoever number 1 is the one that actually knows the answers, because they're the ones that are going to get the boxes to answer the questions. Okay. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing those disclosures, none of those questions are required. So the way it skipped down to the bottom until I made that change on those initials under dual agency, that is what it's going to do on a residential property disclosure. So I actually have, hold on one sec, let me move this off camera. I actually have a template, and I mean, it's because I used to send it in Gmail, but I always just paste this into my email. Hey seller, I'm so excited to be more listing your beautiful home. We got to do some stuff. You're getting to working with real estate agents and an exclusive right to sell, a residential property disclosure. Please make sure to read each question carefully and answer to the best of your ability prior to signing. Like, I give them very explicit instructions and I just copy and paste that into the email in Docusign. Does that make sense? I just already have it written out. And I tell them too, it's not going to force you to answer the questions. You need to read them and answer the questions. Okay. All right. So any questions about how we got the DocuSigning done? Nothing in the chat. Cool. Now let's look at what it looks like when we add the forms in. Now that we got them signed in DocuSign and it was connected to Command, we can go back into our opportunity. The internet is not being my friend today, y'all. I'm gonna have words with Spectrum after this class today anyway. They've, if you have Spectrum, check your bill, because they've gone up on my bill $25 since November. It was $5, then it was $5. Now it's gone up $10 this month. I was like, what? So we're gonna have a discussion after this class. But nonetheless, I digress. Let's go look at the all opportunities button. We didn't really look at this, but this is where all of your opportunities are. You can filter them, you can sort them, you can search by your tags, all the things that you might want to do. You can see a list, volume, commission, when it closed, reorder them, yada, yada, yada. Make sense? It's going to go really slow. I'm going to change that closing date back. All right. So now we got our stuff signed in Docusign. We went out, we showed some more property. We came back, and now we're like, okay, I got my email. They made their signatures. So now consultation folder. We're attaching files from Docusign. What was our working folder? It's just room docs. You have the ability, I've asked them to set room docs as the default here, but you do have the ability in Docusign to set up multiple folders. Going back to my buyer put in an offer, then we put in another offer, then we put in another offer. You could have set up folders inside of Docusign to kind of keep those all straight, and then you would be choosing the folder. But I have asked for them to just default it to the room docs, but you do have to make that selection for now, right? And so now that I've done that, I need to put my working with real estate agents disclosure here, select. Nope. Let me refresh. Should show up any second because we both did sign. Did I do the right one? Hold on. Hold, please. I probably made that same opportunity name too many times. I thought that was the right one, but it may not have been. But you can always go straight to the transaction from that button now that exists in your opportunity. Obviously, you wouldn't have 170 some odd fake opportunities in your command like I do. Is this the one that I just did? Hold on. Is this the one that I just did? Probably should have made that a little bit more clear for myself. My apologies. Let me see. No, that is definitely not it. This must have been it. Sorry, guys. Yes, this was it. Okay. Documents. Docusign, working folder, room docs, working with real estate agents. Boom. Working with real estate agents. It says it's signed right there. Click. Fire agency. Click. Done. Submit. Right. So that's how you upload them there from Docusign. And you can turn them into the Market Center. And all this stuff has notes, like you don't need to turn this in. It's just, I have it there for the mapping purposes. So yeah, that's how Docusign works. It sounds like more than it is. You just have to do it a couple of times. I promise it's not that bad. When I do it, like not talking, not explaining, I can do it super fast. It just takes a little bit of getting used to that workflow, right? And if you're a person that doesn't do like a ton of transactions yet, I highly recommend just going in here every once in a while and just practicing. Like just don't make 5 million opportunities like I did. Just have one test opportunity and send something to yourself or send something to your significant other, your teenager or whatever. Just so that you remember the way that it works together. Definitely come to Docusign tips, tricks, and time savers when I have it. Yeah, Sheila, I agree. So when I came to KW 7 years ago now, from Remax, I used Zip Forms and Docusign e-signature. And when I got to KW, and I hated it when people sent me stuff in .loop. I was like, oh, why did somebody send me something in .loop? I just couldn't stand it. And then I got to KW and had to use it, which I did learn how to use it. And I actually learned how to teach it. And I mean, it was all right. But once we ended up getting Docusign back, I was like, yes. Number one, .loop breaks a lot of rules, and that terrifies me that they do it. But I mean, I really like it. But again, guys, we're independent contractors. So if you want to use .loop or you want to use paper, or you want to use zip forms, it doesn't matter. Just get your documents signed and turn them in command, right? But this is just the workflow that KW has offered us together in one package. This is what will get any cool updates. The other stuff you'll just download and upload, right? That's just the way it's going to work. Questions? We got 5 minutes. We actually finished early, which I'm shocked. So we have 5 minutes. If you guys don't have questions, I have one more thing I can show you in Docusign. But if you do have questions, I'd rather answer them. Okay, I'll show you this then. This is a buyer. They put an offer in on this property, then they changed their mind. We already talked about new folder, right? And under contract, new folder. We talked about that. But let's talk about what you would do in Docusign at that point. We're going to come over to our details. We're going to change our property address, right? They're not buying this anymore. They're buying Maple Avenue in Thomasville. I'm just going to grab it. So I'm going to change that address. Okay. Maybe, and mine looks again a little bit different than y'all's, and for that I apologize. Maybe they change something else, right? They're changing the offer price, whatever, anything that we need to update there. Then I can actually sync the transaction, and the latest transaction information is going to sync over to your document manager. Do you want to proceed? Yes. Okay. So now if I give this a chance to refresh, and go to the details tab, it will update this to be that address in Thomasville. It's just being slow. But then, golly, it's being slow. But then I have 2 samples of, oh, Monica, it's because it's the wrong room. Sorry. Let me try that again. It'll be updated now that it's in the correct room. The internet. $25 more for it to go slower. I have 2 copies. I have the signed version and the form version now that stuff got signed. Okay. I cannot edit the signed version. I could take the signed version and mark it up. I can put it in an envelope just like I did the forms. I can drag and drop strike throughs and drag and drop initials on top of stuff, drag and drop text boxes. You have that ability. I hate strike throughs personally. They're still legal. I just don't like them. So what I usually do is just take the exclusive buyer agency agreement that says form in the corner, or the offer, whatever it is. I open it back up. It has no signatures. I can edit the text. Maybe they said, hey, yeah, I don't want dual agency, and I need to come in here and change that checkbox to say they do not authorize me to represent the listing and the buyer. Then I can just send this fresh for new signatures so that I don't have to have those strike throughs. Same thing on an offer, right? But say that's even just an offer, right? Say you submitted an offer for $375,000 and the seller countered you at $395 and your buyer accepted it. You can take that offer, take the signed one, strike through it, make the changes and initial them, or you can take the fresh copy and send it for new signatures after you make your edits. Okay. But see, now you see 123 Maple Avenue, Davidson, it updated all of this. So now if I go to my documents and opened the offer will have updated with the new property information, and I can go get fresh signatures for my new offer on my second property. So just remember, form version, signed version. Signed version, you have to strike through and add initials. The form version, you can completely come in and edit everything just like it was new. You can edit the closing date, all of that, and just get new signatures on it. So I get asked about that a lot. Cool. Awesome. Well, that took us straight to 12. So pending that you guys don't have any questions, we will wrap it up. Tomorrow, we are going to be going over our agent website and the mobile home search app that KW provides to us. Granted, they are due to get big updates for family reunion. They're not here yet, so we're going to go over what we have. We did get one update in there. We got a new mortgage calculator that I'll show you guys tomorrow. And then Thursday, please take a note that Thursday we will start at 11:15. Bad communication happens. Sometimes market centers don't get it right when they send out their daily candy, but I'm telling you guys, and I'm telling you on YouTube, Thursday we will be in here at 11:15 because I'm going to be teaching a different class from 9 to 11 that morning. So 11:15 Thursday, designs and campaigns. Friday back to 10 for everything else. Okay, Danny, go ahead, honey.
The file that you sent out yesterday, I printed, which was the screenshots.
Mhm.
And that was great because I need something I can refer back to, but I was curious is can you also send, at least I'm asking for myself,
Yeah.
the video?
Mhm. So the videos are up. Yesterday's video, Danny, make sure that you bookmark like my Linktree link and my website. Everything that I teach gets recorded and put on YouTube. So like right here, you see it says Command Bootcamp Videos January. You just click on it from your phone, from your computer, whichever, and it's going to take you into the list. And this is where I'm going to drop this week's videos. And they will stay live until I teach this again in February. So I have people that come every month. Sometimes I have people that come and learn day 1 and 2. And then the next month they come to learn the rest of the stuff. I do this every month because we always get updates. I always get new agents. There's never a bad time to relearn the fundamentals, right? But if you go to my YouTube channel, Danny, there's an option to subscribe. And then there's a little bell that you can click. And that way, anytime that I upload something, you'll get a notification that it's up.
Okay.
Okay. So
Right.
Linktree, it's linktr.ee/KW Tech Coach. And then I didn't have time to do this part, but on kwtechcoach.com, which is your website, under agent resources, there's a boot camp. So this is last month's videos. These will all get replaced with the new videos. But again, it's just the links to the YouTube channel. You can see that one got removed for violating YouTube's terms of service. It's saying that I'm showing people's personal information, even though it's fake.
Can you show that link tree?
Yep. Link tr.ee.
So there is a dot between the,
There's a dot between the R and the EE.
okay.
And then / KW Tech Coach. And that's got links to everything. It's got links to my classes. It's got links to schedule a one-on-one with me, the boot camp videos, that path to get paid workflow that we're looking at. You can just click on it from right there and download it. It's got that linked right there.
Awesome.
Yep. Good deal, guys.
Why, you're gonna have to tell it to me again.
Anything else? I have a moment. Ooh, chat. The screenshot you're talking about yesterday, Danny, you're talking about the resources that I shared with you.
Yes.
I dropped those in the chat from yesterday. And just so you know, Sheila, in the video on YouTube, in the description box, I have that link too, but I'll drop yesterday's resources as well in the chat. You can just click on these guys. When you click on them and open them from the chat, it will open them up. I'll show you. I'll go into a different account. Hold on one sec. Oh, I wish this thing would speed up. It's driving me nuts. Hey. Lord. So slow. So these were yesterday's resources, Sheila, just so you know.
Okay.
I'm going to drop them in the chat for you, and then I'm going to show you guys how to use these. I'm going to go into Dakota's account. All right, so this is like I'm a different person here. If I don't care about that. Sorry. I just dropped the wrong thing in the chat. Hold on. It did not copy it right. Get link, copy link, drop in chat. There. That is the right link.
Okay.
So now let me be Dakota. If I click on this, it's going to just open it up like this, guys, on your own computer. And once it does, you can like save it for yourself. And that way, if anything gets updated each month, like for example, the command app did not used to exist, right? So once it did exist, I added links and help articles and stuff like that. If you just save this to your own Google with any of these buttons, like however you want to save it, however you manage your Google Drive, it'll show up under shared with you. So if you're in Google like this in your drive, there's a button that says shared with me on the side. You'll see it there. And that way, anything that I update will show up on your sheet. So if we get something new, you will see that update from where I type it in your Google Drive. And just so you guys know, with the Keller Williams provided Google Drive or Google Suite, you have unlimited storage, right? I pay for storage in my old Google account that I've had since 2008 when I became an agent. You can see the difference, right? I had to purchase 2 terabytes of storage because I was out. So I pay like $10 a month to have this extra storage in this one. But with KW, it's just unlimited. You have unlimited storage there. So even if you don't use your KW email, it's something to keep in mind that you do have that extra storage and stuff like that that you can use. Good for pictures and stuff that takes more memory. But nonetheless, the resources are linked everywhere. And if you ever need them, just ask and I'll email them to you or whatever. Anything else you guys got? Any other questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, what's up?
Can you provide us, or you may already have it, a single page that's got all of the links that we should be using?
Links to like KW stuff?
Everything, yeah. Everything.
I do, I mean, I can make you a sheet, but on my website, Danny, that's kind of what I've tried to do with it, right? So command is agent.kw.com. Answers.kw.com. You can just click on this one and it opens it up.
Okay,
KW Connect, which is where we can learn stuff. You can click through onto, I thought I had one on here. I will add KW Connect. If you want to learn more about like our mortgage company, there's a link directly to Keller Mortgage. So kind of under this agent resources is where I keep all that stuff. But I can make a sheet and put it under there too. And I'll just link it here and I can email it to you. I mean, there's just so many links. That's why I built this web page.
Yeah.
So that you guys had them all in one spot. Because not only from KW, just being a real estate agent in general, right? I mean, just, North Carolina Association of Realtors, your local association of realtors, the National Association of Realtors, the forms that get updated each year, the county tax sites, the MLS, like it's just a lot. So that's why I kind of tried to put everything in this one spot. But if you guys ever see any, I mean, I bought this just for y'all. So if you ever see anything that you want me to add on here, just tell me. And I'll add it. Like, I don't mind at all. I try to link, like, my calendar is here. This is just my calendar. So your market center might have a calendar that looks like this, but just so you guys know, these are just my classes when it's on my website. My classes get shared to your office's calendars, but these are just mine. So if you're looking for something tech specific, then it's there. But I will work on that, Danny. Do you just want KW websites? Is that what you're looking for?
that and your website and, wherever else you think might be helpful.
Okay. Yep, I'll work on that.
And what I will do once I get that is I'm gonna go into each one of those links and save it into my favorites. So that,
Absolutely.
trying to remember the entire link is a little tough for somebody my age, but
I get it. 100%. 100%. All right. Anything else? You guys good? Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I know that you're all going to do great, and I'm here for you if you need me. Just remember, I promise I'm always here. I'm a text message away. All right. I'll talk to you all soon.
thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.